Testing the audio. Hi, welcome back to another video update. We are back after so long. We're going to talk about Bitcoin prices. This is going to be very important because we're going to show you something that is happening with Bitcoin. Very important thing. We predicted the price of Bitcoin back in February, 20 days in advance. Yes, we are the channel that predicted for our loyal subscribers all the information we have, and we even show you the formula that help us predict the high in Bitcoin. So we talk about Fibonacci sequences, and we talk about the 57k level, which you are seeing and you saw in the live transmission on February 28 in this channel. So now I have, you know, that I'm a risk executive or risk analyst from Argentina. I work at one of the largest banks here, and I really learn from people who know how to predict facts. So I am proud of my colleagues and my team, because this is the people that I learn every day. So I wanted to say that just in case they found out my channel, because it's kind of the secret project we are having here. So you have the honor, and I have the honor to be sharing with you the formula, which is Fibonacci. Fibonacci is the technique that helps us predict, and you see in this level how 57k was the high and it was completely respected. After we saw Bitcoin entering in an area of congestion or moving sideways, it started to move in sideways nowhere. The market started to get hit with bad news from the Federal Reserve, Nassim Taleb, and even Elon Musk changing his mind that he won't be accepting Bitcoin. So now everybody say, what is going to happen with Bitcoin? I asked recently the guy who is the most famous Bitcoin forecaster in Argentina. He was very bullish. He's still bullish. I don't know. He's one of the top executives in one of the top Bitcoin holders of the world. And I sent him a WhatsApp message. But what I'm seeing, that's increasing hostility from governments, maybe because they are creating something, a new architecture that have already won in the past, related to the fact that they want to deploy central bank digital currencies. The central bank digital currencies are coming. This is not a joke. They are coming. And one of the main concerns by the governments is what will happen with money laundering, with systemic risks, and not being able to control all the money going outside the financial system. They want to keep things in control. This is the main reason to attack Bitcoin. How is the government, all the governments and the regulations and the central banks working to control the Bitcoin hype? Well, they are asking, all the central banks and asking for database of customers, regulations, all the things you already know. And the first things you do is you ask for the customer list. Then you ask for taxation as the second wave, and the third wave you could literally ban possessions, just like some countries. So from my point of view, Bitcoin is under attack. We don't know who is Satoshi Nakamoto, who are the main holders. Is the Federal Reserve the main holder? Who is the main holder of Bitcoin? This is the question number one. The reason why Bitcoin is still being bought is because of the supply fact, the limited supply theory that we only have 21 million units. In a world of amazing depth, the real bubble is not Bitcoin, but the bond bubble. The bond bubble, and especially the sovereign bond bubble, is even greater than the Bitcoin. Bitcoin, we are talking of a bubble of 1 trillion US dollars. Imagine that. Bitcoin is a bubble of 1 trillion US dollars. And now we have a bubble which is 50 times higher, at least 50 times higher, which is the bond bubble. At least 50 times higher. So this is a risk, and they want to control that. The risk of inflation is real, and the government, the US government knows it, but they believe that they can control. And why are they so sure they can control all the inflation risk? Because the level of leverage is way too high, and they can create the deflationary pressure with deleveraging the system that will allow to bring down inflation. They can control inflation for a short period of time. This is real. So that's why you don't see gold going about its record high of 10 years ago. Gold is below the price it was 10 years ago. It is still very close to the high it was 10 years ago. Gold is not a hedge against inflation. It's not. Whoever tells you that is a liar. It's a liar, because there is no real correlation between inflation and the gold price. This is a lie. All the gold YouTubers or all the people who will like to sell you gold, or gold mining companies, I don't have nothing against gold mining companies, but they tend to offer advertisement to other YouTubers. So you have to be very careful. Gold and gold mining companies are not a superior hedge against inflation. This is not proven. But the truth is that we are seeing very, very high and increasing inflationary pressures. The Federal Reserve still have tools to stabilize all the pressure. So going back to Bitcoin, I see that even though they will attack Bitcoin, Bitcoin is showing a very nasty chart in the weekly. In the weekly chart, it means that they are off their throne. Bitcoin fell from a throne, and if you take a chart from the daily point of view, it's even more dangerous. The day is even more dangerous. And from the monthly point of view, Bitcoin is like it was destroyed, completely destroyed. So I will stay with the weekly chart, which is the base of the prediction that was made this channel one of the few that predicted the high of Bitcoin in all the YouTube world. So now I see that you have to see that this is a level that helped me to predict the high. So it is very important that Bitcoin stays alive way above 28k, way above here, and don't stop this area. This is very important, because if Bitcoin crosses this 28k area, it means the game is over. The game is completely over, and something new is happening for Bitcoin. So Bitcoin could go as down here, maybe test this level, but I don't know. I still see in the daily charts weakness, and they keep selling. And one of the things that, if you check my Twitter channel, we warned that Bitcoin was going to test all the fanatics and go back again up and then down, and that's exactly what happened. So we have stable crude oil prices 66, and we have stable silver prices, but the price of Bitcoin is showing a bit of weakness. And the thing is that we don't know the amount of real leverage in the cryptocurrency market. We don't know the real amount of damage in the cryptocurrency market. That's not a real statistics. So there is a compound interest, a compound force which we are not seeing. That's why I was warning about the deleverage process. The damage is unknown in the cryptocurrency market. It's not the damage in the capital market of Bitcoin alone, but the derivatives around Bitcoin. So lots of banks were feeling extreme pressure, and lots were forced to add Bitcoin because it was a very important trend, and all the customers from the investment bank community were demanding crypto investments. What is the real reason of that demand? The supply limited theory. If you crash that, the game is over. So the other thing that is a black swan risk scenario is a cybersecurity danger to all these kind of assets. What happens if the platform or all the danger and they start to attack wallets or crypto exchange? What happens with that? You don't feel safe with your money, and this type of investments are more dangerous. So if the central bank digital currency is the way to replace and the way to recover all the control in the financial system, central bank digital currencies should show a superior cybersecurity level. They should offer higher security standards from some point of view. Let's check now the inflation story. So from my point of view, going back to saying the things straight, I don't see Bitcoin going up quickly. It's most likely that Bitcoin will continue to go down, okay? And the danger is that Bitcoin could go as low at this level, which is around here. This is the most risky scenario, and I believe that this is the true support area is 28k. So there is danger that Bitcoin crashes to this area, and this is the greatest danger now for Bitcoin. They should defend this level at all costs. I don't see the dynamics and the formation, the structure. The formation means that we see Bitcoin lower. That's the most likely scenario. It's not a fact. This is my opinion based on the behavior of the weekly charts. The weekly charts are telling me that we may see lower prices of Bitcoin. I don't like the idea. I pro cryptocurrencies. I love the concept of free money distributed privately. I think it's a very interesting concept. But I think that the charts are not convincing me that we're going to see immediate bullish reaction. So I believe the Bitcoin could continue to go down. So now it's time to talk about inflation. I talked in the past video. I apologize for not sending regular video updates, but I like to show you the fact that first, I am mining Bitcoin. I am a zero guy, I am an algo trading guy, I am a risk executive, and I'm not a real cryptocurrency expert, but I know the charts. So I offer my subscribers what I saw. I say, hey, Bitcoin high 57k live, and you are seeing now, and now I'm seeing that don't buy the fever, stay calm, because Bitcoin has to show now that they can go higher and higher. Okay, now Bitcoin first must show that they won't go below 28k. This is the first test for Bitcoin. Hey, I'm so strong that I won't go below 28k. That's the test Bitcoin will face soon. Maybe Bitcoin stops in the next level, which is around 33k, but I don't think that Bitcoin will react immediately high. They will go down. This is the first test. So now we are seeing that if you check the silver price in 27, 28, silver went up and stopped moving up. Crude oil stop, gold stop. Everybody is stopping now, like in the wait mode. This is not a good month, May, for precious metals. But the thing that silver is real, the real fact, is if you check the monthly charts, this is where I saw some signals. Silver is continuously to get comfortable higher and higher and higher. So this means that silver, for me, will go up the next year and the next 2 years, almost like a 100% case for me. I'm so confident that silver will get stronger in the next few years. Silver, which is a heavy commodity, you will suffer, and silver won't protect you against inflation. I know you love that, you may love silver and you are in this channel, but silver, the way silver is behaving is saying me, hey, I'm alive, I'm the monthly charts, and now I'm more violent than I was in the last decade. I am violent again. Silver is quiet, but is showing that it is alive in the long-term charts, and it is retesting the highs, and it will continue to go up in the medium term. So I believe, my opinion is that we are going to see higher silver prices, but maybe silver won't protect you against inflation. Maybe food prices go even faster than silver, so get ready for that too. Don't get a silver fever, because I made a character called the Silver Fever Slayer. Google that hashtag on Twitter to warn the high of silver, which is which was at the beginning. These two black candles, I warned about these black candles in advance with a live concert here. I warned to all the silver short squeeze community that this massive crash for silver was coming, and I was correct, and I warned all the silver short squeeze YouTubers, and I can prove that to you, but I won't do it to expose a good guy I like and the king of the apes. I won't do that. I won't expose them, but they know I warned them. So I truly believe that silver will continue to go up, like a 100% chance. And another thing that is very important, very important news, very important. I increasingly see how the central banks are buying Bitcoin. They are buying gold, and even the Bank for International Settlements is buying through the Bank of England, and they are actively stabilizing the gold market and making and transferring gold from one central bank to the others. And the Bank for International Settlements, they are increasingly active in the gold market, but also in other precious metal markets. And spokesman for the BIS declined to comment, citing client confidentiality. So it means that central banks are again in the market, and there was a very famous article mentioned by the Gold Anti-Tax Action Committee, gara.org, that they were saying that the London bullion market was asking the BIS not to change the rules in the gold market regarding the liquidity and the liquidity rules for the banks, because that could stabilize the gold market. It means that the way banks account, they have the account the accounting with their gold reserves. It was about to change that. The London bullion market was saying, please don't change that to the Bank of England and to Basel, which is the BIS. Please don't change that, and they warned them in advance. So we are seeing some crackings in this, the profound silence in the gold market community from the officials. I saw the cracking and I hear the cracking. I'm not a fanatic gold back. I'm just a risk analyst and risk executives, and I see some strange things, but strange things with legs. So it means that silver for me is all this news from the central bank community, the silver charts confirming that we may see higher prices as a potential preferred scenario, in my opinion. Totally, that's my opinion. So the cryptocurrency is first, also are seeing a risk which is facing. I am a risk guy. Cryptocurrency market is facing a reputational risk. A reputational risk because they are being attacked and mentioned that they are creating reputational risks. They are creating problems with climate change. So we saw that news, and they are creating climate change because they consume too much energy, and that these are all comments coming from very powerful people, and the same groups which are very influential in the financial sector. So maybe that's those groups they are talking about climate change and the damage of Bitcoin, and even central banks saying the same thing. Now the Bank of Japan saying the same thing, all in concert at the same time. This is very interesting message to the people. What the BIS said about Bitcoin in a paper written by the chairman of the BIS, they refer to the Bitcoin holders as a community of online gamblers. Maybe he's correct, because the key reason for me people hold the Bitcoin is they feel secure, and there is 21 million limit units. So if you add taxation directly to cryptocurrency market, you can steal all the profits from the cryptocurrency holders. The general public mainly hold all the possessions in public wallets or in exchange. So all that market gains could be captured by regulators. So this is the main risk for the investors, and this is one of the techniques being used to remove the pressure on the cryptocurrency market. So there is also the NFT bubble, the NFT, which is for me a new asset class forever. This is a new asset class, and they are saying that it is a bubble. For me, it's not a bubble. It's a way of it's a new way of, it's a new asset class for me. And let's say what happens in the future for the NFT from all the collectors and the crypto collectors. It's a new asset class. As soon maybe if the all the protocols are protected and not destroyed by cybersecurity issues, the NFT market is something for the future, and I believe it will be amazing. But you have to have a lot of knowledge before you enter that. Now I'm going to talk about the food prices. If now we check quickly all the performance we have. The performance chart is a beautiful chart. This is, I warned about lumber. This is one of my first videos. I warned about lumber In November 2010, I say be careful with Lama, it could explode. 81% shield today. It means the year to date. So I warned about this performance in one of my first videos in this channel, that the Lama was about to explode. So I was one of the few YouTubers who warned about the Bitcoin high, the silver high, and the coming explosion in Lama. Why? Maybe it was luck, or maybe it was I am old now. Maybe because we were watching inflation. Yes, the Federal Reserve still can destroy inflation for a limited time period, but they can do it. So don't fall in love with short-term game strategies, inflationary strategies, because they can bring down inflation. They won't do it because they want to protect, and they have already talked the book. If you read the lips, they have already said that they don't want to compromise their recovery from the COVID crisis, economic crisis. So they say that they will allow inflation to set in first, and then they will start to remove all the liquidity. And some tools have been already used in that case. But the truth is that all this Biden president administration is having increasing needs from the fiscal side, so the pressure will still be in the system. So the Federal Reserve is warning, and the ECB, the European Central Bank, is warning that they feel comfortable with 50% higher inflation. It means that the ECB said that, hey, we are confident this inflation goes from 1 to 1.5%. They have already said that kind of affirmation. So if you see silver is here, and you see the food prices are way above here. So sorry for all those silver fanatics and the silver fever guys. Check where silver is. It's way below here. And check the food price is way above here, way above. Check what the price of coffee. Coffee was a commodity severely destroyed with the COVID crisis. Nobody was going to the restaurants to drink a coffee. Everything was closed. Restaurants were closed globally. Coffee say, I am alive. And the price of food is increasingly going up, thanks also to the price of crude oil, the crude oil. One of the commodities I would like you to check is the price of cotton, which is very, very in the same level it was a decade ago. So if you want to check a commodity which is way below higher, previous high is cotton. I will show one day. I will make a video about cotton. So with all this nonsense that inflation is real, check what happens to the valuations of the Standard & Poor's. The valuations are now struggling, and they are now starting to feel the pressure from all the pressure in the margins of the companies. What will happen to the Standard & Poor's 500? Well, they will use that index to protect against the deleverage that will come in the sovereign debt bubble. There will be deleverage there because inflation will punish all the bubble in the sovereign debt bubble. They will punish all those holders, and we will see when inflation keeps increasing, the pressure to a rotation between bond bubble and the stock, which are not cheap right now, not really cheap. So most likely commodities will outperform other asset classes. I believe there is a clear risk that commodities will outperform the market in the coming 2 years. This is a very important risk. For Bitcoin, from Bitcoin. Okay, Shami, I warn you this. First, Bitcoin has to prove. Thanks for being here, Shami. Charmy Vicious. First, Bitcoin has to prove that they have strength in the market, that they won't go below 28k. If nothing happens there, then Bitcoin could start to go back again up, and they will first go to 42k, and then to 50k, and then to the moon. That will be the step 1, step 2, and step 3. This is the most important thing. Bitcoin is still bearish for me. It's still bearish in the charts. So the thesis is that they will keep the 21 million units in a world of inflation, in a world of money printing, in a world of a bond bubble. When someone says to you Bitcoin is a bubble, you tell them, if you are a coiner, a Bitcoin holder, you say yes, but the bond bubble is 50 times even higher and much more. Don't forget that the bond bubble is the real mother of all the bubbles, the bond bubble, and this game is coming to an end soon. And the Federal Reserve still has tools to keep the bubble in the bond markets. They still have tools. They still are extremely powerful because all the leverage in the system is higher than 2008 according to official statistics. So what will be the strategy between the Biden administration, the Federal Reserve, the inflation? Well, it looks like they will allow the inflation to get in and stay in. This will be beneficial. This is seen as the best scenario that will guarantee the recovery of the COVID crisis, which is still hitting with waves. I don't want to talk about COVID because there are very strict policies about COVID here on this channel, so I don't want to talk about COVID specifically about that. But I warn you, sometimes I will present you the information, so you will. I have to be politically correct. I have to keep my communications so friendly to the system. So sometimes I will present you the information, so you arrive to conclusions I cannot communicate to you. So this will be our game here. So what's in the box? In the box, we are going to see inflation, and the behavior in the silver is very strong for its worst month of the year. It's extremely strong for it is the worst month of the year, which is May, June. This is horrible. This is horrible, and silver is still hitting very close, 10% lower, less than 10% lower from the highs of the year. So I'm starting to feel that silver lows, the 24 level, silver won't be touched again. This is my most likely scenario for me for silver. We may see higher prices. The question is, will gold and silver will be up here? I don't think so. Will be the stars of the coming years? I believe the stars will be the food prices, not the precious metal prices, because the aggressiveness in the food prices are more interesting for me. So maybe gold and silver are the dogs. They will go up, but they will be dogs. This is because if inflation goes up, the central banks will get nervous, and maybe they will try to contain and intervene in the gold market, because really gold is a canary in the coal mine. So sorry, this is well known that Federal Reserve, well documented by the Gold and Trust Action Committee, that they monitor the price of gold on a daily basis. So I am not sure if gold will be the star from the next 2 years. I really don't think so. because gold is a very intervened market, and we already know that. So now I'm going to show you which is the cheapest farm stocks in the world. The cheapest farm stocks in the world. Let's find out. And it will be a surprise because my country will pop up in the radar. I'm come from a country, I'm here, but I come from a country which inflation is now 40% in the best case scenario, 40% per year. It was 20%. When I was 9 years old, I suffered from hyperinflation, and I was with my mom at the supermarket, and there was the guy from the supermarket was coming with a tag machine, changing price 3 times a day. So you had to buy things first, and when you saw the guy coming to your place in the supermarket, you had to run and grab the tomato can because the price was going to change 3 times in the day. 11 a.m. It was 9 a.m., 11 a.m. and 3 p.m. So it was in the noon. It was 3 times in the day, in the worst moment of hyperinflation. This is my memory of hyperinflation. I never knew that I would end my life now working with risk in one of the big banks. I don't believe the story how it happened, but this is hyperinflation. At the age of 20, I saw a complete banking collapse and banking meltdowns, and the government confiscating deposits. There was a massive distraction here in Argentina, massive distraction. People was crazy. They wanted all them out. Then they never recovered the deposits, and they were forced and converted to our same currency but diluted amounts. Well, the story doesn't stop there. A few years later, it was 7 years later, the government confiscated pension funds, or better say, nationalized pension funds. So now we have only one system. We have a private system, and a public system, and now all is a public system. This is what kind of. And the Greek banking collapse. I was following the Greek banking collapse on a daily basis, and the Greek retirees, you already know that they didn't have money to buy their medicines because the Central Bank of Europe were giving them, I think it was 50 euros per day for a month of banking meltdowns. So and now I'm going to show you because it means that history repeats its lesson in different places. And you check now the cheapest farm product stocks, and I'm going to make a quick and cheap, easy fundamental analysis. Don't do this at home because it's not correct. I'm going to show you that one of the cheapest farm stocks in the world is Cresud, which is an Argentinian farm portfolio of real estate farmland. The book value is $6 per share, and the value is $6 per share. So you're buying that for the book value. You see that you check what happens with the monthly charts. It complete the extraction and massive increase in recovery volume. This is a cheap analysis. This is not correct. So they have the first test here from the long term. The high was 22, and now we saw complete extraction. What is happening with Argentina? The government is very worried about consumer prices, so they close corn exports, they close beef exports from time to time. So they are not in a happy mood with the with the food exporters. It's not a good relationship now, but we have if you have to say, they are on the left side, of course, of the ideology war. Can't say much that. According to Bloomberg, they are left-wing government, not my words. So this is the risk. If they manage to stabilize the debt restructure and default, the risks of the debt default again, and the food prices will help this country. It looks like the market is already discounting them. So I'm very interested in showing you that Argentina stocks are a disaster, but they are showing signs of life for the first time. These are the cheapest stocks in the world, completely destroyed. Look, check at the PE ratio. This is the IRS. It means that this is a stock which is a full discount, a complete destruction, 90% discount. This is the number one real estate company. They have all the shopping malls, top shopping malls. Check the discount, 90%. This is amazing. Which is the risk is that COVID completely. This was a right way, market friendly government between here and here, and they took so much debt, they drowned in debt, and then the JP Morgan, other banks, I think it was investment bank, sorry, it wasn't JP Morgan, they started to leave the country, it started to go down again, it started to devalue the currency, and then COVID came, and the game completely kept this stock, the real estate stock, completely destroyed. So we have now the main real estate company. This is a New York Stock Exchange. IRS quote is 90%. This is complete destruction we are seeing here, and I'm waiting patiently for the lows. But you see there is a sign of stabilizing here. This is a sign of stabilizing in the bottom of hell. So if you want to find cheap stocks for the future, wait for the end of the madness, the COVID crisis, and maybe we will buy the cheapest stocks in the world. I am not convinced, I'm not a financial advice, I'm just saying, hey, look at this, look at the cotton price, look at Bitcoin, look at silver, look at what is happening in the world. We are seeing a strong recovery in some areas, some other areas are not recovering forever. It means that the world has changed forever, and the risks have changed forever too. So this is all the risks. Inflation is coming, and I believe that the Federal Reserve will allow higher inflation, so they feel comfortable and they protect the Biden administration, which is very interesting in a big budget that will make their way. So sorry I'm making this video too long. I will check if you are asking questions, but I think I said what I wanted to say. Sorry, very sorry. What an I make good practice for you. Congress in US have Puerto Rico still solo retirement. Well, yes, well, this is very, very crazy, but I sometimes, yes, I try to do that because you know how I prove myself, because I'm honest. I always tell the truth in the way it is possible for me to say it. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying. I will sometimes show you. I don't know everything. I'm not a magician. I'm not an insider. I am just warning you what I can say and what I cannot say. So yes, inflation is the preferred scenario that will protect the central banks and the officials. They will protect their desired recovery. So get ready because this is going to get nasty. I believe there is going to be panic in the food prices. And I'm going to check now my case, and I believe there is going to be panic. What 6 trillion? Okay, Biden is extremely aggressive with spending. USA, so we may be seeing the final 10 years in the fiscal madness in the United States. The final cycle. The final cycle. The silver, the price of silver is saying, I am comfortable in 27, and there is no way they could send it lower. There is no way they could send it lower. It hit 24 and it went back. This is May. This is May where all the so-called silver cartel destroys silver way down to 18. If it was a normal year, silver should be around 18. This is what the real number I should expect silver if the silver cartel, so-called silver cartel operating. They should have destroyed silver back to 18, and now it's comfortable at 27. So something is happening. Something really is happening. So now we have evidence that there is some shortage in silver according to the Australian permit, some shortage in the chip sector, which is getting uncomfortable in the factory orders from PlayStations, from the computer sector. So we are starting to see supply chain issues that we also hit that we also hit the precious metal market, which is very behind the curve in this noise. But I am worried that the main risk here will be the food price, because that's the place where all the government, when there's food in the table, all the governments will hit the panic button. What will China do with food prices? They will start to hoard as usual for the reserves. They hoard stuff for the people. And you see the violence, check the violence in the core prices. Inflation is just starting, and check what happened to the price of food prices. It's like the end of the world for me. Check what happens to the core prices. Inflation just arrived, and check what core prices. It's in a crazy pattern here. Check what this is embracing. It means that it could even crash this resistance in the coming years. People will be very worried, and I'm very worried about this chart, because corn is saying, hey, we can have a food crisis in the next years. The market in January, it started to say, hey, I worry, I see high inflation, let's check the CPI, consumer price index is higher than ever. Okay, but we were warning to all those YouTubers back here that we were going to see the dark winter. We were in this channel here in November warning about inflation, and now the market is starting to get worried about inflation. But hey, look, this is explosion. This is explosion in the core prices, and inflation is just beginning. This is way too early in the game of inflation. So what will happen with core prices? Check the game is starting, and this is they are already fine. This is very very dangerous. What is happening? Are they interrupting the food supply? Someone is hoarding. We are seeing complete destruction. This is very most dangerous for mankind chart now, and from this channel. So and that's why I want to show you this chart again. This is the most dangerous seriously, because we could see food shortage in some poor countries, real food shortage in some years. Manufacturing crisis, real crisis, I don't know. I see the charts. I left the fundamental analysis work some years ago, but this is the most dangerous chart of the world now. So I'm not saying go and buy tomato plants and fill your bunker, but stay alert. Say this is a scenario. This is for me the most aggressive chart I have ever seen. I think this is the most aggressive chart I have ever seen in the food prices ever. I don't remember something this aggressive amount of charts. So something is happening. Why silver, why gold is not reacting with the same violence? I don't know. I believe that something different is happening with food prices. Different drivers, and it's not inflation. Something big. So what it keeps stabilizing the prices are the crude oil is really clearly stable now. You check the weekly charts. This is showing some recovery, but crude oil could escape to this level, which will be 70 if it continues to go. This is level. So crude oil is healthy. Is showing they have bullish potential from the coming months. They have bullish potential clearly. So it was seeing shortage or supply chain issues in different market sectors. That could happen also to the crude oil market. I don't know. It looks that way. Yes, the most scary chart for me is the corn prices, because we are talking about people's lives. And they're doing this on purpose. I don't know. I have no clue about that. But the most scary chart is that this feeling fear is a very negative emotion that helps to manifest negative stuff. But maybe if you remember the Black Plague, after the Black Plague we have a food crisis in Europe because a lot of farmers were killed by the Black Plague. I don't think that COVID is killing farmers, but maybe it's affecting the supply demand communication, the supply demand, or someone is hoarding on behind the curtains. I don't know. So why the food prices keep exploding? Maybe because they're using as a strategic hedge against increasing inflation. Well, that could be an interesting theory. I don't know the drivers. I see the charts. If you check the chart from the long-term perspective, this is massively bullish for corn, and it means that inflation will continue to go up. Check. This is like they don't stop here. It looks this way that we will have the next years with higher prices. So I think this is over. If you don't have any more questions, I wanted to talk about my story, how I lived through hyperinflation, background, bank meltdowns, nationalization of pension. I have already been there, done that. And remember, keep your silver coins, but remember that silver and gold may not be the best hedge against inflation, because if you want to destroy all those gold YouTubers or silver YouTubers that will say you buy only gold and silver, show them the European Central Bank gold reserves and tell them what happens if inflation goes up with this gold reserve. Will the central banks intervene and sell the gold reserves to keep inflation low? They can do that. They can sell. What are the commodities that central banks hold to contain inflation? What are the remember this question? What are the central banks commodities that they hold to contain inflation. Gold. They don't have food. They have bonds, they have paper money, they have electronic registries, and they have gold. So they can work with that interest rates, but they don't have food. So I am worried about the food prices. The fact that Argentina, which is a top 5 exporter, just at the beginning of inflation, at the beginning of the movie, is closing exports, beef exports, and it made headlines at the Bloomberg homepage, and it made headlines at the Bloomberg homepage when they closed corn exports in December. It means it's like the cracking in the food prices. It's the first cracking in the first tectonic movements in this earthquake that will be the food prices, and you will see financial analysts, financial media crying because of the food prices in the future if they don't contain this. So I made a 1-hour transmission. Okay, they are hoarding, I guess they are hoarding, and they're paying farmers to keep the price up. That could be an engineered food crisis, what we are saying, and that could explain the charts. Interesting theory. It could be that way, an engineered food crisis. That could be the case, I don't know. But the violence in the food prices is very strange for me to understand. Very strange, because we are not seeing a complete explosion everything, but the food prices are way ahead in the game. So it's like they are being pushed even higher than the rest of the commodity complex. For some reason, I don't know. Or maybe someone is hoarding them in advance, I don't know. So I am not talking about new stuff from a few minutes. The last thing I want to say, don't buy the inflation game or deflation game in the short term. There will be volatility. So understand the long-term charts, understand the long-term drivers here in the market, and I see Bitcoin could go lower. I know they force them kill your crops. Oh, amazing! So they are manipulating the market to. We saw Bill Gates hoarding land like crazy. This guy is always in the know, and now I see why he was hoarding, because the chart is saying that. The chart is saying hoard the land. This is the most dangerous transmission I made. I try to warn them in your advance. Check the video Dark Winter. Now I have to make some algos to test my ideas. I have been programming for a long time, very busy. But I have to make some algos in the food prices, because this is dangerous. Well, I hope you enjoy this transmission. Please recommend this channel, and please subscribe if you haven't subscribed. Let's keep in touch. We try to keep regular updates from now, and thank you for being here. Goodbye.